Hey, this is Tyrese Anderson. Have you ever been interested in learning how to fight because you wanted to make sure that you could protect yourself so you could save your life, or even just in general, prevent yourself from ever having a humiliating, embarrassing experience? For this video, I will discuss for anyone who's interested in learning how to fight how hard it is to actually learn how to fight, so you can know if it's something that you want to use your time for learning how to do. As truth be told, fighting is, even in the 21st century, is still an important thing, whether it could be a robber or it could be a bully, it is something important. So if you want to learn how to fight, or just in general are considering it, remember to watch this whole video in order to get a better understanding of it. So let's start off with the first point when it comes to the question of how hard it is to learn how to fight. Now, one of the most important things that's actually might be a bit surprising to people when it comes to learning how to fight, because when we think of fighting, we think of people like Bruce Lee, people like Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, and we think in our head, you must be, or I should say, it must be extremely unbearably difficult to learn how to fight. Truth be told, that is actually far from the truth. Or I wouldn't say necessarily completely far from the truth, but when it comes to one aspect of it, it's actually not as hard as you think it is. Such as when it comes to learning how to fight, one of the most important things you need to learn is how to hit an opponent, or throw as many punches as you possibly can, in other words. So, truth be told, that is what you refer to as a reflex based skill. A reflex based skill is like learning how to ride a bike, or like learning how to swim, or any of that stuff. It doesn't require any brain power, it just relies on developing your muscles. So, truth be told, when it comes to learning how to fight, if you want to learn how to fight in order to defend yourself, that aspect of it is actually not as hard as you think it is. Whether it could be like UFC, or you could say MMA type of fist punching or even kicking, or it could be boxing, martial arts, any of that type of stuff. It is actually not that hard to do that one. All it requires is a decent amount of work to do that one. Because the biggest problem a lot of people have when they try to become good at a skill is that they work nonstop, 24/7. Like they're thinking like you have to do this like five, or not even five, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year in order to become good at it. But truth be told, it's not, you don't have to work that hard. Even an hour of practice a day is good enough. Besides, truth be told, if you even work like 1 hour a day for 5 days a week, you know, or something like that, 5 days a week for each week of the month, guess what? You're still doing better than a lot of other people. You're definitely are, because there's a lot of people who don't know how to fight. So you still have a huge advantage. Besides, this is 21st century. This is not like how life was centuries to thousands of years ago. You're not going to randomly be walking around, if you get in a fight with someone and all of a sudden, get in a fight with someone starts a fight and it turns out that person's like a expert martial artist or something. People learning how to fight is not something as it's not as common as it used to be. And even martial art, it's not as common as it used to be in the past, because there's not as much of a need for it, because there's police cars on every corner and people mostly rely on the police. But still, of course, there are dangerous situations, so you will still want to learn how to fight. But when it comes to knowing how to fight, to simply get a decent quality advantage is over most people is not as hard as you would believe it is. Trust me, you'll be surprised, truth be told. Besides, it also comes down to just simply working efficiently enough. An hour a day, or just simply doing it an hour a day, 5 days a week, or just simply doing it at least once a week or something. If you're planning to become a relatively decent, just for relative self defense, you'll be surprised the advantage will give over you. So that's the first point. Okay. when it comes to learning martial arts, or how hard martial arts is, I should say. The second point when it comes to learning martial arts is another important point if you really want to learn how to fight, or at least when it comes to understanding how hard it is to learn how to fight, is learning how to strategize when you're getting in the midst of a fight. Let's just say somebody you're getting in a fight with, maybe some drunkard or just some person who's just talking shit, and he says he wants to punch you in the face. Truth be told, if he threatens to punch you in the face, if he starts punching you and going in your facial direction, common sense would dictate you will probably want to punch him in the stomach because he's leaving himself open, especially if you're of a decent height, because then it makes it more likely he will have to reach up higher in order to hit you. So if you go for his stomach area or wait for his stomach area, you're more likely to, of course, win. Of course, you're going to more likely win because you're playing smart when you're fighting. So that's another way when it comes to understanding how hard it is to fight, is learning how to strategize, truth be told, because there's many different strategies you can do in the midst of a fight. Like if somebody you can kind of tell is a good fighter, or in the sense of he's good at punching, but he doesn't have much of an idea or strategy, you can probably zoom right behind him and push him down on the ground. So that's another part of fighting, is learning how to strategize. Learning how to strategize, wait for the person to start doing things, and learn how to fight. Or I should say, learn how to take down the person. Which, truth be told, is like anything in the world. The more you do it, you will obviously realize over time you will start seeing more and more and more results. Truth be told. So, truth be told, that's the second most important point when it comes to learning how to fight. Is learning how to strategize. Just like you see in those martial arts manuals where they will show like these images of somebody looking like he's going to strike, then you hit him in the arm or any of that type of stuff. So, truth be told, that is an example of fighting, which a lot of people don't understand the concept of it. They just think it's just based off of reflex, but it's based on strategy. Truth be told, so that's an important thing you have to understand if you truly want to learn how to fight, because fighting is still today important. But the good news is that when it comes to really truly answering this question, when it comes to learning how to fight, is that fighting is actually a medium level skill. Because truth be told, with the world we live in more peaceful ages, whether we want to believe it or not, than we've ever lived in human history. The need to learn like an extreme level of skill and all that type of stuff is kind of obsolete now, not unless you want to be a professional athlete. Most people these days mind their own business when they're walking. And most times those situations happen, you'll probably, as an adult, even among the most hardened people or people who claim they've been in a lot of fights, are probably going to be in the most throughout your whole life 5 to 10 fights. So the idea that you need to become a complete master, like you see in like those martial arts movies and stuff, is just kind of false. You don't really need to learn all that stuff, and it'd be kind of a waste if you spend all that time when you could spend it on other things. Having a decent level of skill is medium in effort. So it's just really, in short, if you plan to take up a martial art, it's relatively decent. And of course, lastly, I should have mentioned that before, but I'll mention it now so you still get the point, is that remember, as long as you're smart enough to always remember, never underestimate your enemy. You remember that point. You always, every time you fight, you always think things out. You shouldn't have really much of any problems. And most people don't know how to fight. People always talk about, well, what if they have a weapon on them? Most cases that doesn't happen when fights happen. That rarely happens. That only happens when someone's trying to mug someone. And people only try to mug or rob, whatever you like to call it, when people are alone or it's like 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning. Most times people are getting in fights. It's just some really angry person who's miserable and is just trying to take their frustration out on somebody, truth be told. Or maybe some wannabe tough guy type who thinks, because he knows a lot of people, whatever crap, that he's somehow tough or whatever, blah blah blah. Like those people who were like in the past. I don't know if anyone wears this anymore, like Ed Hardy t-shirts, and they're always in the gym, like the Jersey Shore type wannabe tough guy. Truth be told, like those type of people, most times You deal with those kind of people, if you know what you're doing, you'll probably win the fight. As long as, of course, you never underestimate your enemy. That's a most important tip. Uh, because truth be told, if you are fighting, your adrenaline's gonna come in the mix, and you're gonna be fighting well, especially if you know all these things. So, truth be told, that is how hard it is to learn how to fight. From a scale of easy to medium to hard, it's medium. It's something actually anyone could do if you put in the time and effort to do it. Truth be told. So that's all I have to say. I hope this answered the question people wanted to have answered. So this is my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember to hit the thumbs up and subscribe if you like videos like this. And as I have to say, so later.